fantasy baseball statistics. Welcome in to all the new subscribers. Big show today. Hot off the presses. I'm dropping my early top 20 hitters for 2021. And I've got big news in terms of evolving with the data. I'm finding new data and new metrics. I see Baseball Savant adding some things to fill some of their weaknesses. I see Fangraphs trying to fill some of their weaknesses. And then I stirred them all together and I used them, I combined them, and I received synergistic effects through the data. I'm going to take you through that. I've got a couple different things to present to you, and then we're going to get into it. We had to make a substantial step forward. I'm looking at tools. We're doing plate discipline, and then I realized we just have to get these top 20 guys, the top 20 bats, up and out of the way because they're really going to be elite talent. It's going to be important to sit in here and move through them and not just take for granted, to not just take ADP and just throw 10 names out there, but really making some critical decisions to try to get a player who could pop to 1, to try to not make any mistakes in the top 10 or top 20. There are some obvious players, and I'm going to save that for the end. We have to keep evolving with the data, and we're going to build out our sheet today. So the 20 players is just to move us down, that I don't have to worry about them too much. But I felt like I was a little remiss to not give us a little bit of salary cap draft advice. And one of the things I'm noticing in a multi-year, because we're at a multi-year level. We've been doing salary cap drafts for a little while. So it's not going to work to just come in here like a podcast and just say stars and scrubs and just leave you with that. And I want to give you a little bit of the next chapters for when you've been in a salary cap draft year after year and some of the things that are changing. So one of the key things, these are the guys you've played against. So they know tendencies. They know who's won the leagues. They know how the scoring system plays out. The commissioners that built the scoring system, your league mates are tired of losing. So they're getting better at that. So what's happening is the league is learning what I think is true value for the players. And in the previous, as compared to Snake, and the reason we have to know our players and we have to know exactly what we're buying, because in Snake, you could just take the top guy on the list. Oh, he looks right there. You don't want to go down too far. You're filling positions. It's pretty easy. In auction, you could deer in the headlights yourself into barely getting any players. So you really have to know a little bit more about exactly where the player is. You can buy back-to-back players. You don't have to just wait your turn and you deserve one particular player that you get. You have to work for your player a little bit by putting your money in and by pouncing and taking your players. So there's definitely a big difference there. And what I'm seeing is as the league is learning and they're knowing who you are and they're wanting to keep you off of stuff, there is overpaying for wants, for things you want. And guys don't really care as much because of how important high-end elite talent is, that everything feels like an overspend. And so I think that you have to know what you're getting. You have to be ready to put in big chunks of cash. That's going to make it harder to live late, that you're going to have to go deep into your pockets, but then just save just a little bit of money to live late at the end, not getting down to full $1 players. But the league is going to push that all up. And if everybody's pushing, if everybody is what you expected the league to pay or what is being listed in the auction values, because you just see the values come down, $20 over, $25. If your system's weird, double. I'm looking at just a football analogy, 2 QB leagues, like forget those prices from the draft room. So things are definitely changing. And you're going to have to change and be one step ahead of your league to make sure you're aggressive and you're getting your players. And because the overpay in the end, it's forcing two things. If you're overpaying and we're getting the money out of the draft, we're just getting quicker down to the low-value players. We're going quicker to the $1 players, which is really like a snake when everyone's out of money. So they're forcing that, or you're just living more on waivers. You're just saying, hey, I've got my 3 studs, my 5 studs. I'm going to live on waivers and I'm going to fill in the gaps, but I have to make sure that I get some top 50 guys, some top 30 guys. It's not to say that we end up at pure stars and scrubs. And so let me give the contrast. I go into some other drafts to experiment on team construction. And an all value team to be like, I'm the guy that's gonna get value. Well, first, this is important. You getting value is cute. But you can't just say, wow, that player is going sub what the bot pricing is or what the auction average price is. So I have to get him now at that price. That doesn't equal value. That doesn't equal value. Value is being right in the mid rounds, is being right late, is being right with your final bite and to get players. So it's just some things to put in perspective. And we know a roster construction from a DFS perspective, a DFS, you're looking for 4x points, price to points, a 4 times conversion to your player. But what really happens in a DFS world is guys that are really cheap playing good. That can be 6x, that can be 8x easily. Stars are expensive, but it doesn't take into account their blow-ups, their crazy weeks, their home run binges, steal bin, 4-for-4 games. So high-end players really aren't really going for enough. Where you can get in trouble from a DFS perspective is living in middle rounds, thinking that you're getting value, but where a middle player is a middling player, and he doesn't really perform up and over to the Forex perspective. So be careful when you're telling yourself you're getting value if you're not really getting value because you don't know the value. This is why we make the sheet. This is why we're more right than other people, and we're evolving through with the statistics. So a really important thing is getting your money in, not leaving the auction with money. No. If you have 16 slots for players, 10, 16, you want to be paying to fill about 70, 60% of the player roster, 75% of the player roster. That way, if some value does slide, you're filling out your team. If you're too value oriented and you end up with too much money, now your team is too deep. And you didn't get money in, meaning you could have had a stud. You could have had 2 top mid-range players, and that's just not where you want to be. So instead of a true stars and scrubs scenario, you want to be thinking about, who do I really like at these prices comparatively up here? Okay, I'll chill. Who do I need in here? 2, top 30 guys, top 50 guys. So you're getting the money in, and you want to be getting the money in all the time. You don't want to go for large droughts, because what if all of a sudden there's overpay and value's coming off the board, but you didn't have money? Or the reverse, all the studs go and you're late stack. So we're just talking a little bit of that team construction and how you're going to have to keep evolving and keep being better than your league. And in the end, for really aggressive, for people forcing in money, paying for wands, paying for favorite players, your will is just going to have to be stronger to get your money in and get your guy. Because when the draft is over, you only get what you paid for. This isn't Snake. This is salary cap draft. Let's get into some of the tools here. So, shortened season, obviously a problem. What I'm doing, I have to get to my top 20. And I'm dealing with the short season. I'm dealing with high BABIPs. I don't know. I don't know how serious I can take Marcell Ozuna or Jose Ramirez this season. I don't know. But what I want to do is I'm going to look at these guys. I'm going to go back 19, 18, 17, 16, see who's just been doing it. See who's been doing it their whole career. And what I realized in going back, Marcell Ozuna and Freddie Freeman, that wasn't a surprise this year. Those guys have been doing that for their whole career. You can see them slugging, ISOing their way, OPS in big seasons. Not that they were top 3, but the guys in the top 20 are able to fluctuate. So in terms of stickiness, it's not perfect unless you're Michael Trout every year. But some of these guys are just popping. Rendon, this has been happening for him. A lot of this is derivative on health. It's how they're doing, Judge, where'd the power go? A little injury. Cody Bellinger, is he going to be back at 25? So I'm looking more at a 3-year average. And what I found is there's some players that I'm not going to be able to just cite last year's data. I'm trying to work around last year's data. So this year alone, until we get some new numbers, my thoughts is I'm looking for upside one. There's legacy upside, 26, 27, 28, 29 year olds that it's just their league, and some situational. To get RBI, guys behind you have to hit. To get runs, guys have to drive you in. To get RBI, guys have to be on base. So situational players is going to be better. It's going to be better to be a Los Angeles Dodger than a Pittsburgh Pirate. It's just true. So those characteristics can sometimes be something else. Just give you that little nudge. Is this player going to go off this year? Is there a chance I don't just get 100 ribbies, but I get like 125 ribbies? And going into some of that speculation, also drafting for some upside, and of course, a fundamental premise that we're gonna apply here is we have to be out in front of power. We have to be out in front of it. That means loading on power, power premium, 40 home runs and above. 30 bombs isn't a lot of bombs anymore, gentlemen. You're going to need 35, 37 bombs. I like 42. We might have 10, 12, 15 guys hit 40. Who can hit 46? We are seeing some of that. So 30, I don't think 25 is even power anymore. Not for me. That's not going to do it. And to balance power, we have speed because speed is scarce. And when you put those together, you've got to give some credit to 5-tool players that are going to deliver both decent power and some speed. But let's get in here. Let's dig in a little bit more. Fangraphs crossing over with StatCast data, but doing something StatCast wasn't necessarily doing. So Baseball Savant had a leaderboard. Their basic leaderboard was their barrels leaderboard. And then they had expected statistics. And we're going to get into how that changed a little bit. But what was always hard was to be able to sort and just look at big columns of players. And Fangraphs gives us that. So we jump over to Fangraphs on the hitter leaderboard. We click on, there's the dashboard, standard, advanced batted ball. Look all the way over to the right. StatCast new with yellow letters. And we're going to go to that to look at all the players. And I'm going to pose the community a question here because I run into an issue looking at historical data. And what's nice is even though Fangraphs just added StatCast data this season, they sucked in all the old data. So now I can look back and go to 19, 18, and 17 and see what they were doing. But here is where my problem lies. Hard hit historically was way up. I'm on StatCast. It sorts. I sort the hard hit column. Tatis Jr., Sano, Acuna Jr., Eloy Jimenez, Christian Yelich. All with 55% plus hard hit. Down to the 13th player, Juan Soto, 51% hard hit. 24 players with 46 hard hit. What? But go back to 2019. Switch your single season drop down and sort hard hit. And we will see that the top player sat at only 51% hard hit. There were only two guys that did it, Nelson Cruz and Franmil Reyes, Schwarber and Donaldson. Everybody else was in the high 40s. So exit velo is up 2 miles per hour. Hard hit is up 5% for some guys. Why? How did that happen for one season? I can't find it. I checked fastball velocity. They're not turning around more heat, so that wasn't it. Was the ball more spongy? Were the bats corked? I searched it. I was looking for, is anyone seeing that the hard hit is up and the velocity is up 2 ticks? I mean, 2 ticks is a lot of ticks. At 88, exit velocity is not good for me. 90 is good. 92 would be crazy. But if everybody's up 2 ticks, how were they swing? Were they reaching back more? Were the pitchers serving it up? Was this going to balance out? Is this because of short season? Do guys come out hitting hard and then fade as the season goes on, as they fatigue, as they take damage? I don't have an answer to this, but it's in there, and it's just something to look at when you're looking at the historical data. So I really, as we evolve with the statistics, I got to give you guys just a little bit more, just a little bit deeper into the numbers, and not to hide the ball to you. Obviously, we've talked about my top four: Juan Soto, Mike Trout, Tatis Jr., Acuna Jr. That's easy. Giving you my first player, number 5, Cody Bellinger. That's where I'm going this year. I see 40-plus home run upside in a ridiculous lineup, looking at potentially 120, 130 ribby, only 25 years old, step forward, little incremental, not sure step back, has flashed elite top 5 potential, and I expect him potentially to just have a ridiculous season of home runs. I love the player, the swing, and the lineup, and so there it is, my Cody Bellinger. So come over to your Baseball Savant, click on Cody Bellinger's individual player page, and I'm going to dive you in here with the microscope, trying to give us a little bit extra techniques. I thought you might like this. Underneath his little picture, and he was drafted round 4. That seems late. He's 6'4", 25. Look at the whole profile. Pitch highlighter. It's not underneath player apps. It's the first one, pitch highlighter. That's probably misnamed. I might call this the hit highlighter, but sure, we'll call it pitch highlighter. And you get to the screen, it's just dots, and then there's the field with dots, and then you got the barrel diagram with dots. But here's the magic. You just take your mouse, your cursor, and you on the barrels diagram, the third one all the way over on the right, you can scroll over those labels. Just put the mouse on top of them, and it'll filter out what those are. So just to give you that again, Cody Bellinger on his pitch highlighter page, all the way over to the right, just scroll over, and now scroll over just the word barrels. Just the word barrels. And this is what I like a little bit here. It'll isolate those particular hits, and it'll go down and give you the stat line. And if you notice, the batting average on his barrels was 81%. And that's why the barrel is so important. Those are hits. Of the 16 pitches, he hit 10 of them out of the yard. A lot of them are home runs. The WOBA is high, but the key thing I'm looking at is that exit velocity of 103.3. Not amazing. There's other players that hit it harder, but what this does is it gives us a quick way to check out the exit velocity of the barrels. Yes. And we got to go a little further in here because I learned about how I feel about what a barrel is. Slide down one more. Solid contact. On the diagram, you'll see those dots are close to where the barrel was. The batting average is a 50, which I like. And the exit velo, pretty good for Bellinger, 102.8. Slide down to flares and burners. These are more hits that go in. You can look at where they are in the field, scattered. None of them were bombs because the angle's too low, but he's still hitting 54% on flares and burners. We like those. We like barrels, solid contact, flares and burners. Look at what doesn't work. Topped exit velocity, an 83. That's slow. Batting average, .098. Topped hits are outs, ground outs, where he's just pulling ground outs. The occasional one might dribble through. Go down one more. Hit under. He hit .021 on hit under. Too low. Pop-ups. You're in the major leagues. You're being shifted. Guys are fast in the outfield. He hit .021 on hit unders. Those aren't going to work either. So we really start to tease apart what are the hits. There's some weak contact. Some of those went in. They might be bloopers. They might be bad data. But what we really see is how effective barrels are and how much of the home runs exist in that type of hit. Solid contact we can really live with. Same for flares and burners. I just want to dig into that tool. But watch this. Watch this, guys. This is even more important here. StatCast, who I just made fun of, Baseball Savant, for not having enough sortable data, for not letting me be able to look at these numbers. I discovered this. StatCast, baseballsavant.com. Click on the leaderboard. This is crazy. Under hitting, we have new categories. We have exit velocity and barrels, expected statistics, rolling windows, which I'm going to skip, and then we have swing and take. And we've talked about swing take before. I've gone into that diagram for individual players and tried to look at it. Suddenly, we get a leaderboard of swing and take. This is brand new this year. This is cutting edge. This is cutting edge. If we get edges on a swing take leaderboard that didn't even exist before this season, we're going to dominate drafts this season, boys. So we go to swing take. It's sorted by all years. I don't really want that. That's a historical. I'm looking at JD Martinez. Oh, but it was 2018. We don't want that for 2018. Let's go to 2020. Hit update on the swing take. I just want to discuss this a little bit. It comes across year, plate appearance, pitches, and then here's the runs. They develop some sort of run equation. The player is either taking or he's swinging. The heart is a little zone tight over the middle of the plate. The shadow, which I'm frustrated with, is an ambiguous zone that combines both edge of the plate and outside the plate, the black and the outside, the shadow. Chase is outside of that. So probably don't want, and then waste is like the trash that they shouldn't be swinging at. And we get to see where these guys are developing their runs. 2020 was a short season. Switch it to 2019. Let's see how that looks. You'll get a more robust set of data. And what I can tell from this is it finally, so I don't have to memorize these or write these down like last season. They just listed them. Who were generating runs off of swing take. That's a pretty sweet list. Rendon, Trout, Arenado, Bellinger, Yelich, Bregman, Nelson Cruz, Ketel Marte. Those guys are all hitting. Juan Soto at 11. That's at 15. We like that. How are they getting it? How are they getting it in the heart? Guys attacking in the heart. Rendon, Yelich with the 24, 16. Who's really laying off of Chase? Juan Soto with his filthy eye. Mookie Betts with his filthy eye. So Chase, they'll let you gain a run by just taking a pitch. Swing versus take. So this is just another tool. Honestly, I just found it. That's why this top 20 just had to come hot off the presses, because there's obvious legacy studs, upside studs, and very sexy studs that we have to draft to get past. But we're going to make our money being right all through the 30 to 60 players, all the pitchers, really high upside top hundreds. So I'm going to get back into this, but I had to show you these tools so that you could get back into this. It's not over yet. That's just swing take on the drop down. Baseball Savant, drop down. This might be even better. Percentile rankings? Nobody has this. Percentile rankings. This would be like the sliders that they're showing on the individual page. How elite is this player? Freddie Freeman's xWOBA is in the 100 percentile. Bryce Harper in the 99 percentile. The barrel percentile. Everybody up there is elite. We get down to number 10, George Springer at 81. Is that a red flag? Justin Turner, sure, you were good at xWOBA, but your barrel percentage was only a 75. This is just new data. They put speed up there. They put exit velo. They put it all up there, sorted by percentile, by player, and you can category sort. Let's just take a peek at 2019. Update. What were we looking at? Cody Bellinger, number 1 in xWOBA in 2019. I'll take it. I'll put him at, amongst many other different statistical metrics, at number 5 this season. Trout, Yelich, Rendon, Betts. So you get to see it there. Just some more tools for you. Let's do another. There's a lot of new stuff. We have to evolve with the data. Pitch Arsenal stats. Pitch Arsenal stats. You gonna load for me pitch Arsenal stats? Are you just gonna break down to me? Oh yes, it's gonna just. Let me try one more. Give me pitch Arsenal stats. Come on. All right, next time. Home runs was the other one I wanted to look at. We can go to home runs. Home runs. We get an X home run, expected home run, and then they mixed in a whole new descriptive stat. No doubters. No doubter percentage, mostly gone. Doubters. I mean, this is crazy. Sort the no doubters. 2020 is too small of a sample. Go to 2019. Sort no doubters again. Arenado, Soler, Trout, Acuna, Alonso, Sano. Guys who are blasting the ball with no doubters. Check out the doubters list. Eugenio Suarez with 17 doubters. Paulie Goldschmidt with 14 doubters. Marcus Semien with 17 doubters. So doubters might show you a red flag. I'm still processing how to use the evolving metrics, the evolving tools in front of us. But I have to show them to the community so we can keep advancing where we're at. One more step forward on the tools before I drop you a hot off the presses top 20 with 5 honorable mentions. It just fell out. It looked good at 20. We're getting there. We're almost there. Come back to your fan graphs. Let that go. Come back to your fan graphs. We explained how Fangraphs is doing a good job on its StatCast data, doing hard hit. I just wanted to say one other thing. Fangraphs is just clean. The barrel percentage for Fangraphs, they prefer barrels per batted ball event. So for whatever reason, they grab a different barrel column than StatCast grabs, probably to differentiate a little bit. If you scroll down to the bottom, scroll, underneath your statistics, and don't be scared of this thing. It says custom leaderboards, and then it says custom players. This tool is so useful, and they even cleaned it up a little bit for us this season. Custom players. Just click into add players. Begin typing somebody's last name. Bell, 2 L's, Bellinger. Am I going to get it? His name will come up. You can just click on the name, Cody Bellinger. He populates the list. You can type in some last names. It doesn't take that long to take a little cluster of players and hit create custom player list. And suddenly Fangraphs will just give you the players that you're looking at. And I call this the microscope. Because sometimes I can't keep, I'm looking at a lot of different metrics. I don't need to see random players with small sample sizes. I've identified who a top 40 or 50 players are. I can put them in a custom list, and I can start breaking those down by that 50, by that little pool. And now I can really start fine-tuning. And that's what I did here to get to the top 20. And what I'll do after the top 20, I can just set them aside. I can always tinker with that if I hear some narratives or I get some injury news. But I can push them up and set them aside. I can slide my magnifying glass down the list a little bit. Grab a little bit of the tail end because I don't want to overhype a top 20 player. I might have missed somebody. Somebody might deserve to go up. So I might just slide it, catch a little bit of and grab some more players. Again, it's just another tool to refine. That's how we did it. Here we go. Breaking down my top 20 players. And I'm seeing some pairs and I'm seeing some tensions. Number 1, Juan Soto. 2, Mike Trout. 3, Fernando Tatis Jr. 4, Ronald Acuna Jr. Number 5, Cody Bellinger. Number 6, who I really toiled with back and forth, because I'm late to the party on Christian Yelich. I was a little bit not a believer. He makes me nervous with his last season contact, but he's never been like that in his career. He's fractured his kneecap. That concerns me, but he's had more time to heal. He's 29 years old, and I told you, it's 29 too old for me? 28 is good. 27 is perfect. 29 is that first little crescendo, but it doesn't mean it's over. Freddie Freeman is hitting at 31. Abreu's hitting at 31. But 29, am I going to get breakout numbers? Or is this the first time this guy is going to feel the wear and tear of a season? But I'm going to put Christian Yelich, because he's not 30 yet, at number 6. Close. The exit velos, the fact that he's going to run a little bit. I don't think it's 40 home runs. I think he has 30-30 potential. And I just don't think you want to miss out on a player that really was pushing top 3 upside for the past 2 or 3 seasons before last year. Just get him out of the way. 2 more outfielders here. We talked about Bryce Harper and Mookie Betts. I'm putting in Bryce because I like who the player is. I know that he's had the chance to challenge Mike Trout in other seasons. I've considered him as high as a number one overall pick. So I'm just putting Bryce in there that I think he's made some adjustments. He's still running a little bit because he's a madman, and he's decided that his game is Barry Bonzian, and he's going to take bases while he still can. I think he's got 35-ish plus home runs, 15-ish bases, good lineup. But if you want more safety, upside versus safety, Mookie Betts. The run god in a stacked lineup with a flawless eye. Can't hit lefties, but will destroy righties. And it's safe. You can't really push Betts much lower than this. If you wanted to go safe, this is where you're going to fight with yourself. And you can look at pricing later. Look at salary cap salaries later. Because I can understand if you think Mookie Betts is the safer option than Bellinger. But we're following a theory. I want to be out in front of power. So I think Betts maybe only being a 32, 33 home run guy and a little smaller in stature, I'm going to slide him down to that number 8 spot. And again, I told you this year, it's just a little bit about legacy. In some ways, I might not be able to point to the perfect statistic. But here, with my number 8 overall player, a classic, a legend, Trey Turner. Turner the burner. I'm just going to put him in here because I think we're still seeing 40, 35, 40 bases a season. I think that he has that in his system. We're seeing a little bit of emerging power. 20 home runs. I've speculated that I think he has 25, 30. Is that 30? Could he go 30, 40? I don't know. If the stars and moons align, Trey Turner having a 30, 45 season is not out of the realm of possibility. That's a lot of counting stats for me. And the thing that seals it for me is he's not just speed on the bases. There's a lot of contact, meaning he's going to hit. He's going to be on base. There are some injury-prone issues, but just in a legacy way and with that sexy value, I'm not going much further down this list without talking Trey Turner. Right behind him, a little tension. And I was fighting here because of where we need to be with power. Trevor Story. Another shortstop, 5 category, kind of the inverse of Trey. 35, 20 steals. 38, 25. So that's the power version that you might want to go there. And that's where we just have to see where the salaries are, where we're going to go. That rounds out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the top 10. As we get into the back end, the 11 through 20, some of this is legacy. Some of this is just can't deny who these players are and where they'll be in lineups, where we need to be with power. I'm going to give you 11 and 12 and a little sandwich here because I'm being aggressive on young upside, and you know who it's going to be. Pete Alonso. Sandwich with Freddie Freeman. So the safe money is on Freddie. The average is on Freddie. The lineup situation, it's with Freddie, but Freddie's 31, turning maybe 32. Pete, although young, although maybe in only his 3rd season in the league, he was a late bloomer, so he's 26, so he's kind of in prime age. Don't imagine that he's 23 or 24 like other third-year players. But Pete, to me, is still 50 home run upside, league-winning upside with good contact, with 86 in the zone. So I can deal with that. If you want to go safer, it's Freddie. You're going to need to put somebody at first base, and you're going to want them to be legitimate. Those are my 11 and 12. We hit another cluster, 13, 14, 15. Sandwich. Arenado, Alex Bregman, Anthony Rendon. What am I going to do here? I'm going to give Nato the nod. How high could I be on Nato? Well, he's a teammate with Story. He could have more power than Freddie. The average is always there. Obviously, if you think Nato's better than Pete Alonso, that's fine. Historically, that's true. I'm speculating for Pete. But Nolan Arenado, from a historic perspective, you can't deny him much here. Getting just a little bit older at 29, We're seeing he has great inside the zone contact, but he does reach a little bit. There's just gold gloves at the hot corner for him season after season. Is there some wear and tear happening for a Nolan Arenado? Maybe. But this is an absolute, a true gamer. If you want to take Nato above even Trey Turner, I can't fault that with his track record with 42 bombs in the bank and the average. So I'm going to put him in there, and I'm going to take Nato for power reasons up over the next two, Alex Bregman and Anthony Rendon, who really are similar players. They're right next to each other. These are eye plate discipline contact masters. Not swinging outside the zone, drawing people in, a little bit undersized. Power is at 30. Power is at 30 home. Power is at 30, 31. Neither of them really take bases, but they're big on average. They're big in the run game. They're just going to be busy. You know, Bregman is on that Houston's team. Rendon's hitting around Trout. You can't really deny who these players are. They're money in the bank locks right here, so we can't deny them. We're going to move across to some middle infield. This was tricky. I'm speculating a little bit here, and I think I went here at number 12, 13, 14, 15. At number 16, a Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres, huh? This is just upside. This is just liking what I saw that I don't want to wait too long. I don't want to forget about Gleyber in a stacked Yankees lineup where he might be the reason it's so stacked. Gleyber could be hitting third. He could be hitting second. He's going to hit a lot. He's got the short porch. He's flashing power. He's got tremendous upside. I'm seeing good contact numbers. I'm seeing good hard hit. Hard hit that Breggs and Rendon don't really possess. For likes reasons, I probably like Gleyber up to probably Pete Alonso. But there just isn't enough track record or solidness for me to guarantee that. But Breggs is right. I'm not Breggs. Gleyber Torres is right in there for me. Next, getting the change of scenery. Two teammates that you still just what with these. We don't know what we're getting from season to season. Francisco Lindor and Jose Ramirez. Francisco's moving over to New York. New York's looking serious. The lineup's looking stacked. I think the best Francisco Lindor baseball is still in front of him. You got a player that's 30-15, 30-20 upside, 35-25. Park's a little bit bigger, so we might be looking at more doubles and triples, him hitting it to the gaps. Maybe he's 25-25. The average has come down a little bit as his BABIPs have lagged a little bit, but I'm not gonna wait on Francisco Lindor. As like I said, just legacy, sexy upside for a player that's 27 who probably wants to dominate the league this season. And then his other teammate, Jose Ramirez, who's shown enough flashes, different seasons. I think the best days are behind Jose. He does hit with high launch angle, high loft. The power should be back. The outages have to concern us. We never know what we're going to get from this kind of Jekyll and Hyde player in Jose Ramirez. But he came out mashing last season. He's 28. He has pop. At only 5'8", pop is still there. And if you don't want to mess with either of those little middle infielders and you're looking to get money in the bank power from either first base or outfield to round out my 19 and my 20 player, I've got Jose Abreu at first base. White Sox team looking good. He's going to hit in the middle. Tons of RBI opportunities. Just a professional hitter. Showed it again. He cooled off. Yeah, he's 32. That's my least favorite part, is that he's aging a little bit. But if we said that about Nelson Cruz, where are we right now with Nelson? You know, is that fair? If we said it with the David Ortiz. I mean, Abreu's that kind of big bopper who knows how to control the plate, who has power and hard hit, who's been doing it every season. He could do it again. So I think he's safe there at first base. And Marcell Ozuna. And what we have to realize is it was a contract year last year for Marcell Ozuna. I mean, he was financially incentivized to come in tip-top condition and mash baseballs. Turning 30, he's had it. He's shown it from different seasons. He's shown it with ISO and slug. We're going to keep Marcell Ozuna, give him that respect in the top 20. And I'm just going to mention some honorable mentions Some guys we can't forget, whether it's from injury or down seasons, but we got George Springer, Aaron Judge, Corey Seager, who I see a hitter who's back, but not enough numbers for me to really catapult him into the top 20. Xander Bogaerts, who I just like, he's looking like a good player, but again, not going to jump those guys. And a Manny Machado, my honorable mention top 5. If I were to go to a little lower, some guys, Stanton, Yordan Alvarez, Eugenio Suarez, it starts to get speculative. Start to get to Austin Meadows, Vlad Guerrero, Eloy, stuff like that. But I really have to tease them apart. So I'll take the back end of my top 20. I'll take my honorable mentions, and I'll get into the next tier of players and start using these tools to really get in there and refine a top 30, a top 50. That's it. It was hot off the presses. I got tools. I'm going back into the lab. We're going to have to sort these out, but I wanted to take you forward in your sheets, give you a substantial step, give you some things that you might like a little bit so that you dominate leagues. Is that gonna get us started? That gonna whet your appetites? And like I said, I might jump over to pitching. I don't want to get too far. Maybe I want to get top 10 aces before I start sorting through middling bats. That's my gut feeling. Welcome into all the subscribers. Big shout out to all the legacy community. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know where you want to go. Holla back.